Peace. What's going on, y'all? Peace and blessings to everybody. We about to go deep. I know that I took a break off. Been resting, recuperating. I know I'm dealing with some health issues or whatever, but I keep my mind positive. I keep getting my prayers in. I eat properly. I make sure I stay focused, and every day I go a little bit further than I went the day before. And as long as I stay on that path, man, I'm gonna be strong, powerful once again. And no matter what, no matter how weak I get, y'all still ain't on my rifle. I love it. I feel great. We'll be about to begin now. And before we begin, let me just start with my theme music. I need that theme music. That's beautiful. Yeah. Welcome to the ceremony. Psychotropic elements inside the lyrics, homie. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So what we're going to discuss tonight is we're going to talk about Dogon theology, the similarities between what the Dogon taught about the creation of the universe, Christianity and Gnosticism, and how it applies to us today. One of the things that really got me fascinated about this subject is looking at what we're seeing on social media. Every single day on social media, what are you seeing? You're seeing videos where people are saying black women ain't no good, black men ain't shit. You see constant gender warring. Now, I'm not sure if it's like this in other cultures, because I spend a tremendous amount of time analyzing and trying to think of what could benefit my culture. So I don't really pay attention to how things are going in other cultures. I'm not one of them people who, I don't do no emotional pocket watching. And I damn sure don't believe in what I'll call over there theory or over yonder theory. Everybody got this idea that things are real bad in the black community, but over there things are great. I don't subscribe to any of that. So I don't know how things are going for y'all. But for our community, the black community, I'm seeing that gender warring is consistently happening, and it's happening because it can be weaponized against us. So that got me thinking about ancient African ancestors and how they handle these things. And that's a little bit what we're going to touch on today. Now, the Dogon people are people who exist and live in West Africa. The really amazing thing about the Dogon is the fact that they seem to have a really profound knowledge of how the cosmos works, and even things in the cosmos that Europeans, even with all their technology, didn't find out until recently. For example, there's a ceremony that the Dogon do every 60 years where they are more or less embodying the movement of the stars. So you'll have individuals who are dressed up like heavenly bodies, and they'll move around in a particular pattern. Why are they moving around in this particular pattern? Well, there's one person who will be Tolo, which is the Sirius dog star, and someone else who will be Fiji Tolo. The individual who is Fiji Tolo is another star that rotates around the dog star, and this one particular star rotates around the dog star once every 60 years. This is a ceremony that's been going on amongst the Dogon people for a very long time. Now, initially, when Europeans went amongst the Dogon to explore the people and get to know the culture, when they saw this ceremony, they were flabbergasted. They were saying, "Why are they celebrating this every 60 years? And there's no star up there that's orbiting around the Sirius star. We don't see anything, and if we can't see it, then it must not be real, right?" That's typically how it is. After the Europeans developed enough technology, they actually did discover that there is another star that rotates around Tolo, and this other star is Sirius B. There's Sirius A and there's Sirius B, a smaller star that rotates around the Sirius star, and it completes a rotation once every 60 years. So the Dogon seem to have a really deep and profound understanding, and even without modern day technology, they were able to know these things about the universe. So that's what fascinated me about the Dogon, as well as the story about Alma's egg. Alma's egg is the story about how the universe came into being. How did the universe come into being? Well, according to the Dogon, the entire universe was compressed into an egg. I saw a picture of how the Dogon depicted Alma's egg, and it looked just like the picture of an atom. Europeans in the West have a picture of an atom where there's a nucleus and there's electrons spiraling around it quickly, popping into and out of existence. They call it a probability cloud. Same thing with Dogon. They have an image of Alma's egg, and around Alma's egg, there's other things rotating that, they call it the nest for Alma's egg. And it looks like electrons spiraling around the nucleus, the center of the nucleus, which is fascinating. But anyhow, within Alma's egg was everything that comprises our universe in a nascent state. So it was unborn, and all the matter of our universe was compacted into this one Alma's egg, which sounds very similar to the Big Bang Theory. So within Alma's egg was everything that ever was, everything that shall ever be. Give me one quick second to add this banner. I want to add this banner. That's perfect. All right, now, so within Alma's egg was the entire universe. There was a slow process by which all of these things within Alma's egg would come out into our reality and create space and time. There were 7 stages of development that everything within the egg had to go through. Now, the universe within Alma's egg is often depicted as a child within a fetus. So this process of the 7-stage process is referred to as the 7 vibrations. So with the first vibration, you saw a hand and an arm develop. With the second vibration, you saw a leg. The third vibration, you saw another leg and another hand, and you saw the head. And then finally, in the 7th vibration, you will see the development of the genitals. This is very similar to the story of the universe being created within 7 days in the book of Genesis. And if you look at my channel, earlier in this year, I think it was around June or July, I did a video called The Book of Gene Isis, where I connected or showed the similarity between the stages of human development inside the womb and the 7 stages of development in the book of Genesis. And now all of a sudden, miraculously, through some weird divine coincidence, I'm studying about the Dogon and seeing that they were already teaching this thousands of years ago. So it's amazing how the ancestors will communicate to you sometimes and connect everything and bring everything together so beautifully. Because I was talking about the exact same thing in the book of Gene Isis in the video that I did. But anyway, so during the 7 stages of vibrations, eventually the universe developed the same way a child develops within an egg or a child develops within a womb. And then all of a sudden, at the 7th stage of the vibration, the egg cracks open and everything in the universe begins to emerge. Now, the first things to emerge out of the universe was a being called Alma. Alma is the supreme creator God. Alma was the first of the most powerful beings to emerge from the egg. And then after Alma, there were other beings equaling 22. There were 22 beings in all who were considered to be deities or different varieties of life within the universe. These were very powerful beings, right? And then Alma began the process of creating the universe. In the process of Alma creating the universe, he decided that he wanted to make a species to inhabit the world and inhabit the universe. So what Alma did was he decided that he wanted to make what they call Nomo. Nomo are twin species, twin beings that are born together. There will be one Nomo that will be feminine, and she would have some traits of the masculine in her to provide balance. The other Nomo would be masculine, and that masculine Nomo will have traits of the feminine within him to keep him balanced. Now, I'm not saying that I believe in gender fluidity. I don't believe in that at all. I believe gender is a biological fact. Some people believe it's fluid, and you're entitled to believe what you choose. But I think it's very interesting that our ancestors were saying that a man needs to have femininity in him to be a little bit balanced, and a woman needs to have a little bit of masculine in her to be balanced. And I think what they're essentially trying to communicate to us is multiple things, because it's a multi-dimensional statement. But I think ultimately what they're saying is that as a man, in order for you to really connect with a woman, you must clear space within yourself where the woman will go. This thing you call a heart, you need to basically use the heart as the space where the woman will go. You need to put your woman within you in order for you to love her properly, and cherish her, and protect her. She has to be a part of you. She has to be inside of you, and you must be inside of her, physically and figuratively. She must take your attributes and bring some of those attributes within her, and you got to bring some of her attributes within you to balance each other out. This is a scientific term for this. It's called relational interdependence, where if you spend enough time with somebody, eventually you'll begin to share certain characteristics as far as your personalities and as far as your interests. But also, believe it or not, you'll see a lot of couples who spend years and years and years together, they start to even look alike, because you're having a genetic exchange of information, not only psychologically and emotionally, but genetically. You're exchanging DNA. You kissing, her DNA is going into you. Your DNA is going into her. She has your child. Well, guess what? That's her. That's your DNA going into her. And y'all create a being that's a part of each of you. It's kind of interesting. And also it's basically telling you that you as a man, As a man, you're going to have a lot of attributes that need to be calmed down. A real man, let me tell y'all something. A lot of people don't know this. Men are terrifying, and we're supposed to be. Men are supposed to be the warriors and protectors of the women and children. Men are scary. Men are scary as shit. Sometimes I'll be thinking certain things and wanting to do certain things when I'm angry or when I'm upset. I gotta calm myself down. But yo, that's kind of scary what I was thinking. Because as men, there's something in us that makes us naturally aggressive. And I dare say things within us that make us kind of naturally violent in certain situations. Yes, men are logical. They say men are logical and women are emotional. If you believe that, that's fine. But ultimately, despite the fact that men are logical, we are also prone to aggression and violence. And so in order for you to calm that down, you need the love of a woman to help you calm down. The love of a good woman will help you calm down and to keep you safe and to keep your mind right. So a good woman in your life is something that every man needs, especially the most powerful and the most aggressive men. Imagine how many times in your life a woman has calmed you down and kept you from doing something where you could lose your freedom or lose your life, or somebody else might lose their life. I've been in them situations. As men, you need a woman. And just like, we as men, we need women to calm us down and harmonize our energies. Women need us. Women need us to protect them, but women need us so that they won't be drawn away in a tidal wave of their emotions. Because a lot of times when women get upset about certain things, they respond with emotion. Sometimes they need a man to be like, hold on, wait a second, babe. Relax for a second. Let's think this through before you do anything. So we need each other. Civilization is harmony. Civilization is about harmony. You can't have a civilization where the masculine destroys the feminine or the feminine overpowers the masculine. And for a long time, we saw a disgusting patriarchy that was oppressive to women. The white Western patriarchy was extremely destructive to women of all races all over the damn planet. But now we're seeing the rise of an even more toxic matriarchy that's going to put us in another totally fucked up situation. We need to figure out how we can be harmonious between each other. That's what civilization is. Civilization is figuring out how you can have harmony between people. Can't have civilization without the feminine. We can't reproduce. There's no legacy. Civilization is about harmony and it's about legacy. Those two terms define civilization. You can't have a future for your civilization if the women are not there, if the women are not being treated properly. It destroys everything, and it destroys any hope of the future because women are the gateway to the future. You reproduce with a woman, and that woman bears your fruit, bears your child, brings your child into the world. There is no harmony. If there is no harmony between the masculine and the feminine, there is no legacy, there's no civilization. There's no peace, there's no harmony, there's no nothing. Anyway, going back to the story, another aspect of the story that I found to be very fascinating was in the process of Amma, the supreme creator deity, trying to inhabit the world. Amma was not perfect. Amma discovered something. He discovered that he was an imperfect being, and he had to learn how to govern the universe through trial and error. And one of the process, and throughout the process, he consistently tried to create human beings to inhabit the world, and he failed multiple times. Amma failed, and one of his greatest failures was when he created a nomo, masculine and feminine, who masculine and feminine twins who were supposed to be born together and balance each other out. But as they were developing within the womb of his consciousness, the masculine decided he no longer wanted to wait, and he clawed himself out of the womb of the earth, out of the womb of Mother Earth. And as he clawed himself out of the womb of Mother Earth, he didn't bring his feminine aspect with him. He didn't bring the feminine no more with him to balance him out. Instead, he ripped out a piece of the placenta of the womb of Mother Earth and brought that with him and dug himself out of the ground. And he looked around into this vast uninhabited world, this vast uninhabited universe, and he said, well, I have this piece of the placenta, which is the force of life itself, the energy of life itself. And within this placenta, there is all life. There is creation, there is existence. So I'm going to make my own world. So he decided to make his own world. But it was an imperfect world because there was no feminine. So without the feminine, he wasn't able to reproduce. So there was no other life. Without the feminine, he wasn't able to grow fruit to eat. He wasn't able to have animals or livestock or anything. The world was totally barren. There was no sweet water. That's how life is without the woman. It is totally barren. There is no peace. There is no poetry. There is no spirituality. There's no civilization without good women, without chaste women, without virtuous, intelligent women. There is no civilization. There's no life. One thing that I realized a couple years ago is men need beauty. But we can't produce beauty ourselves because we don't think along. We can't produce beauty. We are created to be governors and rulers and aggressive warriors. And yes, men create beautiful songs and we write beautiful music, but most of what we write and create that has any beauty or depth in it is inspired by the woman. It's the woman that is the central force and the central figure that brings forth real art out of a man. Without the woman, what happens to music? Well, what you hear in music now is barren. It's bullshit. Without adoration and respect for the woman, without women being virtuous, and without men showing respect to virtuous women, you get barren bullshit. You don't get families. You get baby mama and baby daddies. You don't get peace of mind. You get excited. You get amped up, but there's nothing to calm you down to help you focus. There's a lack of education in the music. There's a lack of inner peace in the music. There's a lack of spirituality in the music. There's a lack of connection in the music. The music is completely psychopathic. Who the hell would think that we would ever live in a time where people would make songs about how money is more important than women? Or who would have thought that you would hear in music where somebody would say, I don't need a man, all I need is a bag. That's what happens when there's a lack of balance between the masculine and the feminine. It's barren, just like the world of this nomo that was barren without the woman. That's what we have now as far as art. It's totally barren. The music is all bullshit. It's all superficial nonsense because the woman is absent. Real women are absent. Just because you got chicks on the screen shaking ass and they got vaginas, that don't mean that we're looking at the women who inspire great art and who inspire civilization. These chicks can't hold down civilization. Real women are completely absent from the music industry. And I don't care who disagree. You disagree, you hop in the comments, you let me know, chump. All right? But anyhow, this nomo created this world. Just like in Gnosticism, you hear the story about the God of the Bible. Now, Gnostics, the ancient Gnostics were a branch of Christianity. And many of us have Christianity confused. We think Christianity from the very beginning was one thing, and it was always the same. That's not true. Christianity had to develop over the years, and there were a lot of different perspectives about Christianity, what it meant, and where it came from. One group of Christians, they were called the Gnostics. These Gnostics believed that the God of the Old Testament was a false God because the Old Testament God was very violent, he was very aggressive, he was very destructive, he demanded blood sacrifice. So they believed that God was a false God that they referred to as the demiurge or Yaldabaoth. Yaldabaoth, they believed, was a God who was a descendant or emanation of the real God that came into being in the universe. He thought he was the only one. He thought he was the only God. So he created our world. And our world is a physical trap. It's an illusion and it's a physical trap for the spirit that dwells within us. That's what Gnostics believe. And it's a similarity between this false world, this destructive, evil world that keeps us imprisoned, and the world of the Nomo, who created something without the woman. It was an illusory world that was destined to fail from the very beginning because it was built without the feminine aspect. And without the feminine aspect, what happens? What happens to Christianity without the feminine aspect? What happens to Judaism without the feminine aspect? You notice that scholars say that the God Yahweh in the Old Testament actually had a consort. He had a female consort. Either it was the goddess Asherah, who was one of the consorts of Yahweh, or another being called Shekinah. And Shekinah was supposed to be a consort of the God Yahweh, or the wife of the God Yahweh. And they took her out of the Bible, making the Bible barren. Without the feminine, there's nothing. It's just barren. So there's Nomo, this Nomo who had created this false world without the feminine aspect couldn't reproduce. So in order to reproduce, what he had to do, sick as he was, without the feminine aspect to calm him down, he was sick. So he raped his own mother. He came forth from Mother Earth. He raped his own mother and reproduced monsters. He made these hideous, evil monsters who became evil spirits that haunted the world. Just like a man, right, who does not have women around him and does not have the respect of women within him, and then he'll reproduce and he'll make other men exactly the same way. It's very interesting how there needs to be balance between the masculine and the feminine. Every single time you hear a woman trash her baby daddy, that's destruction of the masculine. Every time a woman tells her son, you can be just like your father. Every single time a woman says men ain't shit. Every single time a man says women ain't shit. You're attacking the necessary feminine and masculine balance. You are at war with principles of nature and you will lose. Mother Nature doesn't care what you believe. God don't care about your belief systems or your religion. God wants things a certain way. Mother Nature wants things a certain way. There are universal principles. The universe follows certain laws, and those laws don't get broke for nobody. You think you can create a civilization in the future without the black woman? You out of your goddamn mind. If you can create a civilization in the future without the black man, you out your goddamn mind. We are the sons and daughters of God. You ain't getting rid of us. You're gonna have to kill our father to get rid of us. The masculine and the feminine need to be in a state of balance. They need to be. Anyhow, going back to the story, there were other attempts by Alma to create balance between the masculine and the feminine. But that one was the one that really, really struck me and really, really caught my attention. Why did it catch my attention? Because it mirrors our situation now. It mirrors what we're going through now in our current culture. And just like the world of that Nomo came to nothing and he died because he created monsters, we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to do the exact same thing. Now, it's interesting to me that the Dogon believed that the universe was created over the span of 7 vibrations. They imagined that in the center of Alma's egg was everything that the universe will become, and then it began to vibrate, and as it vibrated, it began to spiral outward. So with each vibration, you'll see an arm of a spiral symbolizing each vibration. So it spirals around and around and around 7 times until it's big enough and broad enough to crack the egg or come forth from the womb of the cosmos. And that's the same thing with our ideas, right? Your ideas do the same thing. It's the process by which your ideas become manifested in reality. So don't feel ashamed or embarrassed when you get a really great idea that you know can really change the world. You have an innovation, you have a creation, you have art, you have music. You're a comedian. Shout to my man Mo Green. Bomb. Shout to all my boys. All my boys are artists. They do hip hop, they do beats. Shout to my man Norman Beat. Shout to my man Water. Shout out to my man Hydro. Shout out to my man, one of my favorite writers of all time, my man Lou. He ain't recorded no music in a long time, but he one of the illest writers ever. And so on and so forth. You have brilliant ideas and you feel like your time has come and gone, or you might feel like it's taking too long, and you might feel like it's not destined to be. No, we don't know. It takes time. There are 7 stages by which your ideas come into being. There are 7 vibrations. What is a vibration? Well, put it like this. The vibrations symbolize this. If there is a vibration, there is a sound. If there are 7 different vibrations, that's 7 different sounds. What does that mean? It means music. Your life must flow like music. Everything in the universe has a vibration. Everything in the universe has a music. Actually, if you type in music of the spheres, even the planets as they rotate around in the heaven, they make music. You can go to the NASA website and you can literally listen to the sounds that each planet makes as it rotates and spins around. That's a trip. I used to do that when I couldn't sleep. When I had real bad insomnia, I used to listen to the sound of the planets. And you go a couple days without sleep, you start tripping almost like you're on acid or something. So imagine listening to the sound of the spheres and you in this different state of mind. It will blow your mind. Or do it while you meditate. Listen to the music of the spheres while you meditate. It'll blow your whole mind. Right? So the process of you trying to bring something forth into being is once you hit the right pitch, once you hit the right vibration, that's when it will explode. But you must be transforming, just like the symbol of the child within Alma's egg. With one vibration, it developed an arm. Another vibration, it developed the other arm. Same thing with you. With every stage you go through in life, you have to develop. You have to develop the power to crack Alma's egg and come forth into reality and create space and time. What you're trying to do is you're trying to create space and time. Space and time to work. Space and time to make shit. You're trying to alter the reality into a whole new reality. That takes time, but you got to make sure you got the right vibration. Every vibration has to help you develop. As you develop, you become more and more powerful until eventually, boom, you crack the egg and you emerge. And then out of you will emanate Alma. Out of you will emanate the Domo. Out of you will emanate everything that you need in order to create the life that you want. But it takes time. Not just time, but development. And that's the problem. So many of us are letting time go by and we ain't developing. You're not getting better. You're not grinding. You're not studying. You're not getting your prayers in. You're not exercising. You ain't hitting that gym. You ain't meditating how you're supposed to. You're supposed to become better as you get older. You're supposed to develop. A lot of people have dreams. They don't achieve their dreams. Why? Not because not enough time has gone by. Achieving your dreams ain't about time. Achieving your dreams is about the development. It's just that the development takes time. What field do you want to go into? Are you studying that field? One of the things that I had with me is I wanted to start my own business. I started a business called the Wellness Initiative. That's where I got the title for my YouTube channel at. It was a business that I had when I was living in Connecticut to teach kids meditation. And I really wanted to get into schools and get into after school programs to teach mindfulness and meditation. And I was studying mindfulness and meditation and learning different meditation techniques and putting together programs. I was doing my thing, but I wasn't developing as a businessman. All the spiritual development I was doing was great, but I wasn't developing and taking time to develop as a businessman. I wasn't buying books on how to run a business. I was buying books on meditation techniques. I was doing experiments with meditation techniques. I was trying to astral project. Oh, that's great, wonderful. But if you want to develop as a businessman, you got to study business. You want to develop as a musician, you got to study music. You want to develop as a singer, study singing. Shout out to my man Mo Green. He's a comedian. He wanted to learn how to be a great comedian. So he studies that. He'll tell me a joke and then break down the joke. And then tell me something he learned from watching other comedians. He's breaking it down. So he's developing. Every year you see him get better and better and better. And you see him getting closer and closer and closer to success as he's breaking it down. So you have to develop. That's what's going to change your vibration and make that music so you can move in harmony with the music of the spheres and get what you're trying to get out of life. You can't get what you want out of life without development. I don't care how good you sing. You still need to develop. I don't care how great of a performer you are. You need to develop. I don't care how pretty you are. You want to be a model, you're going to still have to develop. Everything requires development in order to crack the egg. You're not going anywhere. It don't matter how much time goes by. Time can go by. Time can float. Time, that's what time does. Time goes by. That's all it do. It's what you're doing with that time that matters. Those seven vibrations symbolize stages of development. You need to be complete to crack the egg. Alma's egg, the symbol of the universe, the symbol of reality itself. As you try to change your life, you're trying to crack out of your present reality and go into a new reality. And that's only going to happen with stages of development. How hard are you working to develop? Stop going around thinking that you're great as you are. You are great. Don't get me wrong. I love you. You're beautiful. You're amazing. You're amazing. But just because you're beautiful, just because you're great, don't mean that you're not going out into a competitive world. You're going out to a competitive field. You want to be a doctor. to be in, you want to be an artist. It's all competitive. You got to compete. You develop the even if you want to date a beautiful woman who's a business development. You want to find a man. You want to find a love of your life. That's going to require development. Stop thinking you great. Things are great. I'm just going to sit around and wait for things to come my way. Nah, you need to develop. Things will come your way. I just did a meditation earlier this evening called Let Go. No, I said let God. Flow. You enter into a flow state and things come to you. But how do you enter into a flow state? Well, it takes a certain amount of effort and development. Then once you develop yourself, you enter into that state where you can let go and let God. But you're only going to achieve that as you grow and as you develop. Growth and development are the answer. How are you going to grow? How are you going to develop? Well, you grow and you develop by putting in the work, by learning about yourself and being honest with yourself. You're not going to grow and develop without. But if you think you're great as you are, that means you don't know enough about yourself. Even the greatest artists can improve. Even the greatest artists have songs that don't quite work. Even the greatest artists behind closed doors got to keep going and keep trying. Kendrick Lamar is an amazing artist. He said sometimes he go in the studio, he'll write a song and get it done in one take or get it done in one sitting. He'll write the song just right in one sitting. He said some of his songs take him 6 months. He'll come to the studio and write one bar and then walk right back out again. Development. Songs got to develop. Great songs develop. There was a real famous song from a group called Fun. And y'all all know that song. It was like, tonight. Hold on. Let me sing it right. Tonight, we are young. So let's set the world on fire. We can go higher than the sun. He said it took them 6 months just to get the hook. He said he went in the studio and sung the hook and didn't do nothing else. Walked out. And the engineer was tweaking it, getting it just right over the span of 6 months. Doubling the vocals, adding in the reverb, adding this, adding that, adding the drums over 6 months just for the hook. Development. See, he ain't just lay the hook and just walk out and say, I'm good, I'm done, this is great. Nah, they had to develop it further. That's how that song was so big. That song was huge. That group was real big. But it's because they took the time to develop themselves as artists. And they took the time to develop those songs. A lot of times we in the hip-hop industry, there's pressure on us, go in the studio, get amped up, and just write a hit on the spot. But I think that comes in a lot of ways because a lot of individuals underestimate the artistic value of hip-hop, and they think that we could just churn out this music. And some artists can. Tupac was an artist who created great art very quickly. 50 Cent. I heard of the guys that, with Dipset, shout to Dipset. I heard that they got their material done pretty quickly too. They was always in the studio banging material out. But a lot of artists ain't really blessed with that. And those artists got to take your time. There's a story about Nas when he was doing the Illmatic album. They was rushing him. Get it done. We need you to get it done. And he got into an argument with, I guess, an A&R at the label he was with at the time. I believe he was with Columbia. He got into an argument with her because he wanted to take his time with the lyrics and didn't want to rush. And so he got up and walked out of the studio while she was there. And when he walked out of the studio, she saw his rhyme book. She picked up the rhyme book and read the lyrics, and her mind was so blown. She was like, you know what? He's right. And when he came back in the room, she said, you know what? You're right. Take your time. People will see the value in what you do if you see the value in what you do. You take the time and you develop yourself, people will see the value in that. You rush something, then people going to try to rush you. That's why I tell women all the time, don't lead with sex. Don't lead with sex. You want this dude and you think this dude is cool, don't just throw your ass out there. Don't do that. Because if you don't value it, why would he value it? It's just common sense. Why he going to value something you don't value? You going to give it to him that quick? That means you really don't value it. I don't care what you feminists think. Oh, I can express myself. I can express my sex. Okay, that's fine. That's great. Yeah, but is your goal to only express your sexuality? Or is it to express your sexuality and have people respect you? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Never mind. Maybe you got it right and I don't. How many kids you got? You got a man? Maybe you know something I don't. Maybe you got a plan I can't see. And I'm not saying that to be a dick. I'm just saying. But anyhow, the masculine needs the feminine. And I probably made that comment right there because I need some feminine in my life. Right? So the masculine needs the feminine. And that comes with development. Development is the tool that we use to shift our reality. And anything can be done once we enter into a state of flow. Let go. You don't need to struggle no more. It will happen. As long as you put the work in to develop yourself. That's the answer. The things that you want come from within you. They don't come from nowhere else. There ain't no external fairy floating up in the sky, dropping down gifts and presents. God exists within you. That God that exists within you is the one that grants you your wishes. The God that's here. The energy that's here. It's all around you and inside you. And in Ifa, they teach that there's a God in your head that's called the Ori. The Ori, that term means head. There's a God there, I believe, that is in charge of keeping you safe and in charge of guiding you towards your destiny. Right? But anyway, peace and blessings. Thank everybody for joining me. As y'all can see, I'm trying to work on my visuals a little bit. I told you I'm trying to make it look a little better around here. Yeah, I think this looks good, but I still want to add some other stuff and make it look even more fly, but it looks better than it usually looks. It don't look as plain. But yeah, peace and blessings to everybody. I'm going to play my theme song real quick. Bodhisattva. It means enlightened being. That's beautiful. Yeah. Welcome to the ceremony. Psychotropic elements inside the lyrics, homie. That's peace. All right, y'all, I'm out of here. Thank y'all for watching. Make sure y'all watch, like, share, tell a friend to tell a friend. I want my subscriber numbers to go up, so that's what we're focusing on. We got to get this information out to the people. We got to spread this love. We got to spread this positivity. Same way y'all spread gossip. When y'all heard that a rapper was breaking up with another rapper, or y'all heard somebody was cheating on somebody, or y'all heard somebody had a venereal disease, or somebody was getting divorced, y'all spread that quick. Spread this positivity, man. All right? One.